it slips on the ways, and on the inside here, okay, there's a nut that goes through. You just tighten it up, and it's just like your basically, it's just like your, you know, your tool rest. Okay. This is made to fit my lathe, and I think it would fit that one over there. I have these in different sizes because this will turn, you know, like an 8-inch bowl, smaller. I have them in a bigger size because my lathe was my grandfather's. It's probably 200 years old. It's an old Craftsman. And on the headstock, I can turn on the back side of the headstock out here. So I can turn something big. And I have a big round one where I can turn up to 20 inches. But the idea here is most of us, you know, do all this turning, and when you get through, there's sawdust everywhere, and you know, you might wear a mask or whatnot, or I'm willing to bet half of you don't, you know, but sawdust is bad for you, okay? And anything that you can do to keep it out of your lungs is going to make you better in the long run, you know? So, this essentially depends on how big is your lathe, you know? Most of these lathes today cut 12-inch diameter. So that's what this is. That you can't cut anything bigger than that. You can make it longer. You can make it shorter. If you just do pens, you can make it 8 inches in diameter. It doesn't have to be this big. You just have to be able to mount it in a position that's going to be central on your turning. You need plastic on the top. This is really thin stuff, okay? This is, it's not even an 1/8 of an inch. It's thinner than that. I wanted to buy 1/8 of an inch, and I took this because it's all I had, but it's fairly flexible, okay? And it can be formed like this with a little heat gun. Or, if your wife's out of the house, and she won't know, you can put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds and take it out and form it over. You know, but again, don't tell her I told you to do that. Don't tell her I told you to do that. You know, do 5 seconds first and try it. Do 10 seconds and try it. Okay? Don't leave it in there for 30 seconds because
you won't have a wife.
yeah, well, it might cause problems. Okay, but the bottom, okay, on the bottom, I had some of this stuff. I put a metal, just something to make it sticky. You don't need the metal. You could do it right to wood, okay? I put that on there because I overdo things. But, you know, you don't need it, okay? As long as your track fits on your lathe and your base is flat, you tighten it up, it's not going to move, okay? The form, all right, my lathe cuts 12.5 inches, so I made this, all right, 12 because there's like a 1/2 inch at the bottom, all right? I made it to fit on that. I used cedar for the bottom. It's soft, easy to cut. There are like 3 pieces on the end here. And if you look on this side, you can see it. There are 3 pieces that run to the center, and then just cut it on my bandsaw, glued it together, okay, and it just sets in. The base, okay, on the form is Formica. I put a kitchen in. I work with Habitat for Humanity 1 or 2 days a week. We put a kitchen in this week, and we have Formica left over. Have some up here. Anybody wants it, if you want to take it home and play with it and see how it works, you're welcome. Just come up and get it, okay? There's 3 or 4 pieces here on the floor. I took the Formica and I used a double thickness. The reason is I've used single thickness before, and if something hits it, it cracks. So the double thickness makes it that much stronger. All right, and hopefully I won't break through that doing something foolish. You know, you can put the formica down on your blocks and just screw it to it. Okay, that's all. Now, the form here, right? This is important because anytime you have plexiglass, you've got to be able to fasten it down somehow. I use Velcro. Find this at Ace Hardware. It is industrial strength Velcro. And I got a bunch of pieces here. I'm going to pass it around. You can take a look at it. This is strong stuff, you know. See how it goes. Essentially, you cut the pieces that you need, peel off the tape, and stretch it over your surface. And you put it down, you can't lift it off, so you got to put it down right the first time. All right? It's really sticky. It's really, it's going to hold. All right?
So I could actually use this on my staging disc that my Velcro goes south on. You just stick another piece of this right on.
Yeah.
And then get more life out of that piece. Good job.
This is thin. Normally what I do is I'll take a thin piece, maybe piece of metal, and put it on it. Makes it stiffer. This will probably break after a while because the Velcro holds it too tight. So I would run a strip of metal down here and pop rivet it to it, okay, to hold the shape and to also make it a little stronger because I have used the 1/4 inch on the top. It is so hard to bend. You know, and my wife's always home, so I can't use the microwave. But at any rate, I would normally strengthen that up. You can see it in the back here. I put a piece of metal to hold it in the beginning. Not necessarily down here because once that gets screwed in place, you know, it's going to hold. But this stuff here, I'm going to reinforce this, you know, probably in the next week or so to do that. Now, what I did here, all right, because everything is Velcro together. So if you need to take something out, you know, you have to spend 10 minutes on screwing things, all right? This is for, you know, your live center or whatever. It'll take my drill. It'll take my drill chuck, you know, whatnot. You cannot use the 1/8 inch on anything that you're going to take off and on and off and on. This is the 1/4 inch, okay, that fits the hole that I've got here in the wood, and then it's like a 3/4 to 7/8 inch strip that runs all the way around. Put a pop rivet through it. This is 1/4 and 1/4, so it's 1/2 inch. You've got to have at least 5/8 on your pop rivet. I use 3/4 because that's what I had. All right. Put it on, squeeze it, and it's together. Put your piece of Velcro on, you know. This is another important thing. If you notice the Velcro that I'm passing around, there's the shiny flat stuff and then the fuzzy stuff, all right? The fuzzy stuff should be used on your parts that you're removing. In other words, on the set here, that is going to be left exposed occasionally. You don't want the fuzzy stuff because it'll get clogged up with sawdust if it's left exposed. This, the white hard material, you know, won't get sawdust dirty. All right? But if you leave this where it's not together, if it's just sitting there, it's going to get, you know, worn out. Okay? So you would put that on the pieces that you're removing. No. Remove the soft stuff, all right? All this has the hard surface on it. you know, it's much easier to blow that off and clean it, okay? Now, the other thing that I want to tell you is that it's very difficult to use a standard tool rest with this. So, and this might be a little, I don't know, it might be something that you might not want to do. I have, on all my tool rests, I use 1.25 inch solid stock. I go to the welding shop, I buy this rod, 1.25 inch, a 1 inch pipe, okay, metal pipe, drill it out 1.25 inch, all right, and it fits together. This is a 1 inch black iron pipe, all right, fastened to the channel iron. Put a, you know, a reinforcement on it, thread it, slip it in, and you can just tighten it up. This channel iron allows you to move your your tool holder to the side, and essentially it gives you a lot of opportunity to get right up close. Whereas if you were back here with your tool rest, you're going to have a problem. You're going to be sticking way out here. You're going to be sticking out 12 inches to get to the bottom of your bowl, okay? And you're going to get a lot of chatter. But if you move it up this way, all right, you can go and do your curvature right here with, you know, something like this, all right? I make them so that I can take them apart. If I can turn it. If I can turn it, and it can be reversed. In other words, this rod, well, this rod essentially is just drilled through, and it can be reversed to cut this way. See? So you can cut your curved surfaces, you know, however they are. And I just you know, make these things up because I feel that it's better, if you're doing curved surfaces, it's better to have a tool rest that meets the shape of your form. So you're always right up close to it. You don't get as much chatter. How do I bend that? Went to Harbor Freight and I bought a bending device. Essentially, it's a hydraulic jack with a bunch of different, you know, pins in it. So you put the pins in, here and here, jack it up in the middle, and you can bend it anything.
Pipe benders.
Say again?
How do you use that to bend pipe?
It won't bend pipe so much because the pipe will kink. All right, but solid.
You need a mandrel.
Yes.
Shape.
Right. It comes with a different shaped mandrel, you know. You know, and you could bend pipe, but I don't.
I've used pipe benders for mufflers, you know.
Yeah.
They have to turn the curvature.
Right. Yeah.
But that's more of a job thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And essentially, you know, you'll find that the mandrels that you have, like, they have a small one that will do this. So the problem is that, you see how short this is? Well, when you go to bend it, it has to be longer. It has to be about 5 or 6 inches longer in order to get it to sit properly on the rods going through the bender. Okay, I think it was like $60 for this thing, you know. And I've made enough rods that would be a lot more than $60 if I had to buy them.
Was that just mild steel?
This is actually 2 pieces of angle iron with a pipe, a solid rod going through it. All right. I'm going to change the design. I'm going to change it so that I can get a slope and get more, you know, more of a point. Yeah, more like a pyramid, you know, rather than this flat surface. Then you can get your finger up against it and use it as a guide, you know. But anyway.
So that sits on your banjo. How do you attach that to the banjo?
To the
To the banjo, to your still don't understand how
Okay.
I would do that.
This
Okay, we're not,
goes
I
on the
understand
lathe.
that,
That
it's just
tightens
your
up.
tool rest.
The tool rest goes into this channel iron, like this, and you just clamp it on.
Oh, you just clamp it to the weight of your bed?
Clamp it to this.
Oh, okay, that's all part of it, okay.
Yeah,
you're not
this
using-
is part of it.
Okay, I
Okay.
see now.
And the critical part of it is, how high does this have to be? You know, think about this for a minute, because you want your tool to be somewhere around center, all right? All right? So, you've got to make sure that when you construct this, that this is at least 1.5 inches below the center. This opening here. 1.5 inches below the center of your 6.5 inch space here, because if you've got a 12-inch maximum turning rate, okay, then this has got to be about 4 inches, all right, off the bed, so that you can have some adjustment. Now, all right, if you can't get that, you can put a little angle on this so that it would slope down or slope up, depending on what kind of lathe you have and how much room you have. If you don't have 12 inches where you know, a 12-inch turning radius, then you might have to do some adjustments on that. And the trick is to, instead of making this parallel to the base, put it on a slight angle so that it tilts down. So where you're cutting is going to be on center. All right, just a little trick that I learned in making 3 or 4 of these. Okay, the plastic is applied here to this. This is a piece of aluminum angle iron, okay? And what I did was, every 3/4 inch, I just cut it with a hacksaw, right up to the edge. Every 3/4 inch, I made those slices in it. And that allows you to bend it, okay, to this circumference, and just drill a hole through the plastic and the angle iron. I'm using aluminum actually, angle aluminum, and just screw it together or use a puck rivet on it. That gives you a good smooth surface to put your Velcro, and it's a good shape, because the plastic, which is not really strong, it can break, okay? But when it's put together with so many fasteners, all right, this is really pretty strong. It's going to hold its position, okay? This is 1/4 inch. I never use anything less than 1/4 inch on the sides, because they're going to take a lot of strain. You might be leaning on something, or when you're cutting with your tool. The other thing to remember is you want to be able to see where you're cutting. I did this afternoon. I had this all together, and I wanted to see, if this design was good enough, to work. So I had Formica up here. I didn't have the plastic. You know what the problem with that is? You can't get a light in here to shine through so you can see what you're doing. It was dark in there. And you can't put the light here, because that's where you're cutting from. That's where your hands are. The light's got to be back here. So I took the Formica off. I took another piece of plastic and put it on here, and I extended this all the way through. The front has got to be plastic all the way across so you can see in, and the top has got to be plastic almost halfway around, okay? You've got to have enough to get your light in so that you can see what you're doing in here. Aside from that, I mean, it works. It's amazing. The sawdust, if you're sanding, all right, you don't, I leave the top on, but there's so much suction in here, you can just put your hand in here and sand on the inside, no sawdust comes out, none whatsoever comes out. You're sanding this side here, it's spinning, and you're sanding on it, or underneath on the bottom where it's spinning around, it's all going right into the hole. there will be no fine dust escaping. When you cut, all right, depending on what the diameter is and how close it is to this edge, some might come out this way, okay? Some might come that way. And if that's a problem, you can take a 2-inch strip here, 2-inch strip of plastic, all right? Put a piece of Velcro on it and stick it on here, because you're going to be cutting down here anyway. You're going to be holding down here. You can extend this and make it a little more so that it doesn't come out. Sometimes, you know, depending on what you're cutting or what tool you use, it's going to go up and to the right, and which direction you're going is going to go up and to the left. So you have to, you know, see how you cut. And if you need a little space here, you might need to put something on. The other nice thing about this is you can take this here, all right? Oh, no. Here's my other thing. You can take the front here. What happens on the front, you just slip this in, okay? It will slide the whole way. So, you know, if you want to get your hand in here, you can still keep this covered all the way back here, all right? There will be times when you might just want this done here. When, let's say, you know, you're sanding on this, and you've got this piece on over here, okay? All right? You can sand in here, and that's the only spot that's open. So this being able to slide like that is a real advantage. The other thing you could do is you could cut this, okay, to see how, you know, where do you hold your arms and your tools, you know? Where do you need space? This can be, you could cut this off, and you could put a piece here and a piece here. Okay? Cut it in half, you know? Because when you bring it together, it's not that critical. You could put a sleeve on it like this. So let's say I'm using a chuck. My chuck's 3 inches. I need a hole like this to get the chuck in there, okay? Well, I can put this other piece back in, all right? And all it does is slide together. I've got a scab on the front, a scab on the back, and they just go together, okay? And it's either in one piece, all right, or it's out, and this is in. So you're keeping, you know, your holes closed up, as you know, best you can. Okay. Questions? No?
How about a suggestion?
Yes. Always open to suggestions.
Put a hinge on here,
Yeah.
so you can put it back when you put your piece in and out. And
Yeah.
if you got, sometimes you got to measure things and get
Yes.
a gauge in there
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. You could put a hinge on there, a piano hinge, you know. And what you'd have to do in that case, all right, is this have to be formed.
Yeah.
Okay, and what I do is, I brought one. I have 2 of these, okay? You'd have to heat this up so that it keeps the shape better, all right? So if it's not fit right, then you have to fasten it through here. If you put the Velcro on it and you put a wing nut on it, you can take it off and put it on like that. Excellent idea, okay? Excellent idea. And essentially, you do need room to get things in and out of it, all right? That's the one problem I found this afternoon that I couldn't fix before I came tonight.
Because I was thinking of just putting something in a chuck
Yeah.
and being able to tighten that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can tighten the chuck up. You know what the biggest problem is? Putting something, getting your bowl in there, okay? I had to unscrew this edge here so that I could get it in. But this is only one screw that goes through. And what I did is I glued the nut onto the side, you know, so that I can just screw it in and take it out and the nut doesn't fall down, you know? Because, you see these fingers, how many times did I drop this? You know what I do with a little nut for a whoop, you know? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, so great.